the volume, let the guitar scream. We're talking wrestling, living the dream. From Tokyo to London, across the globe, respecting the craft, we're in the know. No gimmicks or fakes, just pure passion and skill. The best talents from every wrestling hill. We dive deep into the stories behind the ring. Respecting the craft, making the fans sing. Respect the craft, making the fans sing. Respect the craft, respect the fight. We bring the best, we can't hide.
And we are live. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of Respect the Craft. This is episode number 320, and I'm joined by Shady, Griffey. What's going on, brother? Good evening. How are you?
We out here. We out here. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I've watched your product, man, and I like what you do. Pun intended, respect the craft. Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I actually let me put my phone on silent too, because I don't want us interrupted. You know,
Yeah,
we got a lot to get into. You feel me? So we finna
no,
do better. All
definitely.
right.
But no, appreciate you coming on here. I'm glad we could finally
Oh
do
yeah.
this. It's definitely been an episode I've wanted to make happen for a while now. So I'm glad we could finally sit down here and have this discussion. But before we get into everything I want to ask you, I have to ask you the question I ask everyone that comes on. You heard the name of the podcast. It's called Respect the Craft. So for you, when you hear that term, the craft, what does that mean to you?
Uh, as far as our industry is concerned, it means everything. Respecting the craft. The craft is the just the purity of combat that a lot of my my coworkers and I, we go into it. We put our bodies on the line. We put our lives on the line. uh it's very demanding physically, mentally, and in some cases spiritually. And I think that when you put that on display so frequently as we do as performers, a lot of that gets lost, the craft of it. And so it means so many things. And I think it's a great question that you ask to everybody, because I feel like you can get so many different answers and they might always all be the same, even though they're different. But yeah, respecting the craft to me is the display of our abilities as athletes. Some people are have more a gymnast, a gymnast like agility. Some of us are more martial artists. Some of us are, old school grapplers. Like back of the Gotch era. You know what I mean, and things of that nature. So it's so many different uh, versions of the craft, and we all meet in the square circle, and then we see what happens. So
Gotcha. No, definitely so. Now I have to go into a little bit of that growth for yourself when it comes to the craft
yeah,
here and finding who is Shady JD Griffey here. How do we get from
yeah,
that growth of a man once known as flawless to
yeah.
get to what we're seeing today presentation wise?
Well, man, that's a really, it's funny, but it's kind of it seems like strange to anybody that doesn't like know me on a personal level.
Gotcha.
The whole flawless character is it's that character was just really a very intimate version of myself. Like, I've always had the highest level of confidence, but I had also realized that it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. You know what I mean? But where I had come from, as a martial artist and an athlete, it was okay to be confident as long as you weren't a disrespectful. But when you cross over into pro wrestling, there's almost like a level of like forced humility, and I got kicked out of a lot of organizations, a lot of combat sports organizations, a lot of wrestling companies. uh Not for anything nefarious or anything like that. It was just you just didn't see eye to eye with a lot of people. And it was one of those things where that forced humility made me kind of say and do things that I wouldn't normally say and do. And it almost came across as like, this guy, he's saying he's happy to be here. This guy's saying these things, but when you get to know him and you talk to him, he really thinks he's the best. Like he's kind of a shady guy. He's pretending to be, and so that's where it's like, no, I'm not shady. I'm just saying what you guys think you want to hear. But like, if you get me in the right environment, I'm gonna tell you what it really is. And if you look at my career, look back over my career, I have quietly put up Hall of Fame stats. You know what I'm saying? I've quietly put up some Hall of Fame stats. And so there's a part of me that's also would like to convey gratitude to that forced humility in those early stages. And I mean, you've been to Revolver shows, you see me come out and it's just almost this grown, like, this guy, like, and I get it. I understand. It's probably annoying, but until y'all find somebody that's gonna shut me up, it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
I was gonna say again, the track record proves it. There's a reason you can't really
I
argue
mean,
it. Can't really argue. And
it is
again,
what it is.
companies
Yeah,
continue to bring you back time and
Yeah,
time again. There's a reason why you're still
absolutely.
holding that championship that's right behind you right there. That
That's the
VIP.
thing that I love about the squad that Shane Taylor Promotions, like, Shane was one of the first people who like was like, yo, bump all that humility, F all that, if you can walk in there, smoke a guy, then do that. Like, why? A lot of me wants to credit that to Shane as well, just really letting me be myself and be like, yo, they can call you Shady all you want to. Like, Shady ain't a bad thing here, as
Gotcha.
long as you slide on the ops, So
Hey, there you got it now. And that's something I want to get into a little bit because we've actually had Shane Taylor on here before and just hearing
yeah,
his mentality when it comes to this business. So it's definitely
yeah,
it's gonna be interesting to see what he's taught you and just where that goes
oh,
with your
absolutely, yeah,
mindset and all this. But
absolutely,
before we get into all that, I do want to talk a little bit about that championship you have right behind you and how you were
absolutely.
able to retain said championship over the weekend against someone I know very well, Matteo,
Yeah,
the legendary, notorious 187
yeah,
homicide. So talk us through
absolutely.
just what that belt
Uh,
meant to you and just the insanity
um,
of it.
it meant a lot of things, and I think I didn't realize what it meant until the bout itself had concluded. Uh, First of all, like, just to talk about homicide and everything that he's done, up to this point in his illustrious career, and again, you having a very close relationship with him as well. Like, he has been able to become what I feel is one of the greatest culturally, uh, for the Latin culture and for our generation of performers who are outside of the traditional mold, if you will.
Yep.
He's somebody who is a legend, even in the tag, as a singles performer, even between Impact, Ring of Honor, Japan, like everything. And he did it his own way. Like, he didn't you basically, what you saw was what you get, and to be faced with somebody like that in that environment, I thought it would be because I like to think of myself in a bout as the aggressor. And that was the first time in my career that I felt like what it would be like to be in an actual fucking Saw movie. Like, it felt like a Saw movie, bro. Like, you're not, like, for real, like, it was madness, bro. Like,
That,
on some real shit. Like, uh just his ability as a technician, like, uh but a lot of people, you get that 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 uh that Latin gangster mentality from him, the whole, that whole thing. But then you forget that once that bell rings, like, yo, homie got the grapple too. He gonna grapple with you. And so then I try to go, okay, let me get us in close quarters. Let me get us in the clinch and see what I can do there. And then you sit there and you think, like, where he's from, like, he's not a stranger to that either. So a lot of times in my bouts, I go like, all right, is this dude a striker? All right, let me keep my distance and work with him here. Is he a heavy-handed dude? Okay, let me make sure I get in close, get him to the ground, try to finish there. I always try to, whatever I know your weakness is, I take you to deep water and we're gonna swim out there. uh, he's one of the few people where I was like, oh, this isn't working. Even in the third fall, even taking it to the outside, and it was like, oh man, now he took me to deep water, and just as some. When you're the reigning and defending champion and you feel like you're trying to survive, it does something to you mentally. I think I think it does something to you mentally. But saying all of that to be able to withstand the onslaught and overcome and be able to retain against who I feel one of the greatest tag performers and singles performer and culturally a Latin performer. Um, and to have him afterwards announce, like, he's done, he's hanging that up, and he's not going to be fighting anymore. Uh, to know that in the Texas market that I was the guy that ended it. That can't be taken from me, and that there's a lot of things in my career that I'm proud of. That's one thing that I won't say I'm proud of, but it's one thing that I'll say I got the opportunity to face one of the greatest in so many different aspects of our sport, of our industry, and to know that he pioneered a lot of the things that the modern fan they're a fan of, and they don't even know that it comes from him. You know what I mean? And
Definitely.
so that's one of those things where I knew that going into it, and I feel like it muddied the waters in battle at the time, because it was like, man, this guy means so much, and then it's just like, no, F that. This guy's
No,
he's trying to peel your face off, like, right now. You're like, nah, he ain't none of that. Like, he the ops right now. It's not a legend. It's not a. This isn't an opportunity. You about to die if you don't. You know, like, you playing. You over
that
here
is the thing. You
in the
go in
eye.
there,
You about to die. Yeah. So yeah.
you
That
go in
was a
there with
big deal. It
homicide.
was,
He'll appreciate the love,
yeah,
but
yeah.
he's
Like,
still gonna
the
try to get
how
you.
apropos of his name. Yeah. At some point in the bout, he took one of the fans, gave him her coin purse, and he was trying to zip my lip up and I was like, bro, who does, like, that's some shit you will see in a Saw movie, bro. Like, I was like, oh nah, bro. Oh no, like, nah, bro. Like,
I was
and
looking
that's
at
one of the things. You don't How do you train for that? You can't be kicking tie pads, like, there's no defense for that. You're not rolling, you're not on the mats rolling and being like, all right, there's no technique for, okay, what happens if he tries to staple your cheek to the wall? Like, what the, like, I don't know, like, I'm a pepper spray him. I don't know shit. Like,
there's
craft,
no
I
in
don't
between you
yeah,
guys
hit
sparring.
him with a
There's no
press.
fork
Yeah, like,
training. Nothing.
yeah, a grenade, pepper spray, a knife, something, get something, like, the hell, like,
Uh,
prayers, anything, like, yeah, man. It got really it, it got graphic, man. It got graphic, but
yeah,
uh, it was one of those things. And VIP is such a weird market. That market is so strange to me. Like, I've always felt like the deck was stacked against me there. My first defense was, Fuego del Sol, which was a hard fought match, and then I think my second defense was like John Morrison, which I lost. you know, and then I had to win it back from John Morrison. Then it was you facing Too Cold Scorpio, and then it's like, okay, now you got Homicide. We working on Keith Lee or Shelton Benjamin or Matt Riddle, and I'm like, yo, what the yo?
yeah.
Uh,
This is I guess it's a double-edged sword. Like,
it is
it's
what it is, though,
wanting the
right? It is
best.
what it is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it is. It is what it is. Like, if I say that I'm one of the best doing it, if I claim to be that, I gotta. It come with it, a fight come
Yeah.
with it. So
Again,
where we
that's
at?
what it is. Especially being the world champion, it's bringing out the best. It's bringing out all comers here. You never know who could step up.
Absolutely. And then this weekend going into Revolver, it's that about our industry. We kind of lock on and we get going. Like, it's like, all right, that was a classic match. All right, I got about 6 days until I do it again, and so and then between just the training and, like, I was running hill to wind sprints today, like high noon. It was like 12:30, and I'm running wind sprints up a hill, like while the sun's beating down on me. And it's like, why are you doing this? It's like, well, a revolver is gonna provide an environment that I'm gonna have to be athletically at my best. So that might be the least difficult thing I do all week. You know what I mean? Going into
Definitely
revolver.
so. Because again, that'll
Yeah,
be happening this Saturday. If you guys haven't already, make sure you get your tickets. Revolver running a little bit of a discount right now. So save you some money. Get those tickets right now at revolvertickets.com as Revolver makes its return to the Epic in Grand Prairie, Texas, with Epic over Texas. JD Griffey making his return there. Talk us through,
yeah.
man. The last time you were on Revolver, it was for Revolver Fight. You got in that environment, an environment I know
Yeah.
you definitely are no stranger
Oh
to.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
absolutely. Like that was a home game for me, right? You know, I live closer to the Epic, right? But you fly all the way to Ohio and it's a home game. So I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. Uh yeah, I got in there with Revolver is doing such amazing things in the pro wrestling market, and I feel like it doesn't get that kind of credit that it deserves. Uh, a guy like Sammy Callahan who again is a combatant like us, a guy who's on so many sides of the camera, and he's put together such an amazing crew, and he puts together amazing events all over the country. There's not a lot of promotions that are able to do that, and let alone do it consistently. And I think Revolver has been able to do that. And so yeah, just coming off that Revolver fight, that was my last bout in there. Submission win, second round submission. And yeah, I'm now we going into this weekend at the Epic, returning to the Epic. And the Epic is funny because I've had Muay Thai tournaments at the Epic. I up until Speedball, I was undefeated in the Epic. I had never lost in that building, and credit to Speedball for delivering my first defeat uh in the Epic. And so, and again, we've had what, 3 shows in the Epic. I've main evented 2 of them, so I'm, as far as I'm concerned, I'm Mr. Epic, you know what I mean? I am the Epic, and so I've got a little bit of a hint of who my opponent's gonna be, and somebody that I'm very familiar with. So I think I'm about to bag another one, if you will. I'm about to
Gotcha.
bag another one. I'm about to bag another one.
Definitely.
But it's gonna be a crazy, 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 crazy event on October 12th. We pulling up on it. It's gonna be crazy. It's a lot of good matchups. We got Fuego, Ace Austin, uh, who else we got?
No, it's a
Ninja
sad
Mac
card. Like
and yeah, yeah.
I just had
Yeah,
Brick
we got
Savage
Ninja
on
Mac
here.
versus Lindsay Dorado. Yeah, Brick, Moose, and Jake. That big house fight.
Oh,
It's gonna be some crazy bouts. Vert Vixen and Hyon. Uh, 2 tremendously talented ladies, and but they put on bangers all over the country as
yeah.
well too. And so I think people that's pulling up to the Epic this weekend, they're gonna see some craziness. You got you know uh Palmer and Swan. Those are my those are my guys. But they're always up to no good. So
Yeah, just a little bit. Like you
look,
saw you were here in the chat when I
yeah,
had Palmer
yeah,
on, and
yeah.
yeah,
Tussle, that kid. Yeah, that kid. He's too new. He's
uh,
too new.
belated birthday as well to Tussle. We just celebrated his birthday over the weekend.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Mine's tomorrow. Yeah, I'm like, shout out to all the October fall babies, right? So yeah, but yeah, that's the thing about Revolver too. You never know what you're gonna get. Like Tussle, who has been a super reliable, dependable part of the production crew, and Palmer's like, I'm gonna bounce him off of his head. Like, why not?
poor
And
Tussle, man.
and
Poor
and,
Tussle.
and that's the thing with Palmer, is like he says these outlandish things that you're like, oh, he's kidding. Oh God, he's got Tussle. Oh God, he's about to power drive him. You just like, I thought he was kidding. Everyone's like, no, I thought he was kidding. It's like, well, if we
Yeah.
were thinking, we wouldn't have thought that. Matthew is insane. But that again, that's why he is where he is. He is who he is. What you see is what you get with Matthew Palmer. So
we've definitely have seen that, and again, it's one of those
yeah,
situations where we will see what happens this weekend because he's in there with the man you just said that unfortunately gave you a loss at the Epic. It will be
yeah,
Speedball,
yeah.
Paul Walter
And that's the
Hauser.
thing. I with Speedball and Walter Hauser, it's like you wouldn't expect. I've had some crazy bouts with Matthew as well, and then again, you saw not too long ago him and Jake, and just the punishment that these guys are able to put themselves through. So Palmer's a bit of a wise ass and stuff, but like when push comes to shove, man, be careful. That could get that room can get dark for you real quick if you're not, with the smoke immediately.
Definitely.
So that matchup is gonna be pretty epic, pun intended also. Uh but I will say this about Paul too. In the short time that he's been on his journey as a wrestler, I've noticed that he's had a lot of growth, and kudos to him for uh wanting to take on such a dangerous endeavor.
Yeah, this is gonna be. He keeps going into those situations. He had the match with
Yeah,
Palmer originally.
yeah,
Had his match with Matt Cardona that ended very
yeah,
very aflame, if you will. And then
yeah. I
he
mean,
comes
it
back
got hot
to
in
this.
there. Uh, it got
He
hot in
comes
there.
back to
Yeah,
this now. Who
yeah,
we haven't seen Rich Swann in a minute, but just knowing that he wanted to break someone's leg the last time he was at Revolver. Yeah, we shall
yeah.
see. We shall see.
I think we're seeing a side. I think we're going to see a side of Rich Swann that we all think we want to see, but none of us are actually prepared for.
Yeah, yeah. It's always an
You know,
unpredictable factor of one Rich Swann in
yeah.
the building. So we shall see.
And
We shall.
he's a gifted athlete, so anything he can come up with, he can probably do. So you just pray he doesn't come up with something too dangerous.
That
So
is the thing. That is, and then he'll make a song about it. Then he will proceed to make a song about it right after.
yeah, I mean, I don't know what he can't do. There's not too many things he can't do, but I'm excited about just not only fighting at the event, but also just being able to watch it. I think the people who have been to the Epic for and the Epic and GP, like in Grand Prairie, it's an amazing venue for many different sports, martial arts tournaments, just so many different things. But I think when Revolver's there, like it has a big fight feel. Revolver gives the Epic a bigger feel than it usually has, and it's the Epic. If you know anybody who lives in the Dallas Fort Worth area, there's so many events held at the Epic, and it's one of those things where it's one of the jewels of Dallas Fort Worth, and for Revolver to be there, and the community to rally around Revolver when Revolver shows up in Texas is also a testament to the company as well. So
No, definitely. And again, just to see how the scene is, it's definitely showing how much
yeah,
Texas wrestling has become truly a hot spot. When we talked
yeah,
to Palmer last week, talking with Brick Savage last
yeah.
week as well, you just hear how much the scene and just how many people are coming out of it
Everybody,
here.
everybody's a dog here. Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's a dog. Yeah,
So you
absolutely.
gotta love to see it. You gotta love to see it, man.
I had to move from Texas. That's how dangerous it got. I was like, let me move. Uh, and then I still find myself fighting there
I
more
was gonna
often.
say, yeah,
So
that's
like,
why
yeah,
I
right.
thought you were
It's
still
like that was for nothing, right? Yeah, but yeah, no, it's gonna be the Epic is gonna be it's gonna be pretty pretty sick. All things we just kind of throwing everything onto that show, and it's gonna every time Revolver's at the Epic, it's insane. So today will
um,
be this next coming up event will be no different. So
there you go. So stay tuned for that, ladies and gentlemen. Again, get your tickets now. But we go back here to talking about JD Griffey, though. I do want to talk a little bit about just
yeah.
even that love for combat sports, though. Getting into mixed martial arts. Where did that
Mhm.
love for that start for you?
Oh, I mean, I was a little kid. I was always into martial arts because, growing up, like in my earliest years, I was like a smaller kid. So I didn't grow into football until I was about seventh, eighth grade. I didn't grow into those more popular sports until I was older. So, uh, martial arts was one of those things where you could find people your size. And the more I got into martial arts, like especially starting out in Muay Thai, and it gave me this confidence where it's like, nah, the kid's bigger than me. They look my size too. You know what I mean? Like everybody look my size. Uh and that kind of created a confidence very, very, very early in life for me. And so it started pretty early for me.
Gotcha. No, that works. And then again, we see how much that love for it and just that interest in
Yeah,
it has been very successful. Now
yeah,
finding that and now being like, you know what? Not only do we want to do this, now I gotta also step in through those ropes here and into the
yeah,
craft.
yeah,
So how was that
yeah.
transition of finding, you know what? We already have this on the plate. I want to add this one as well.
Well, see, it's weird because it was actually backwards. Like I was a martial artist first, and then when I got into professional wrestling, I tried to be the more traditional boots, knee pads, trunks, and wrist tape. I tried
Got
to uh be a more traditional version of that to be accepted. And that was one of those things where guys um like a homicide, you know, guys like a Lance Hoyt, uh kind of those were the guys where I was looking like they were breaking the mold and being kind of their own thing. The Black Men's, the Shamrocks, certain guys like who were martial artists who could, kind of do their own thing. It was different for me because I tried to become a traditional pro wrestler, and then just through travels and a lot of some of the mentors like a Jerry Lynn or like a Dr. Tom or some of these different guys like a Danny Cage, these guys who you come across in your travels, they kind of tell you no, like kind of be more of yourself. And so when I got around those people who I viewed at that level, they were telling me, "Nah, go back to who you were, like be you." So chasing that kind of brought me back to my origins, which is, the Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, like the mixed martial arts. And I mean, I'm already pretty cocky and a bit of a showman, so it just worked for wrestling. and
Right?
then just it was like stepping it was like a homecoming. So it was like when I got back into the Muay Thai tournaments and things of that nature and getting back into fighting, it was like, oh, it's a homecoming. It was more of homecoming as opposed to
Gotcha.
like stepping into something new. It was more of a homecoming.
No, that works right there. And one of those where again it keeps you even that sharp for both. Cause like we've said,
Absolutely.
it allows you to have that style in there when it comes to the craft of
Absolutely.
wrestling. You still
Mhm.
have that you're always in that competitive nature when it comes to fighting and getting to still do both at the high level that you're doing both. It's great to see, man.
It's a beauty that in wrestling now that I used to have to feel like I would have to go there to get that taste for blood. But
Yeah.
the weird thing is like you have so many people like a Baszler, like a Shafir, like a Moxley, like a Danielson, like a Lawler, who, a Lee Moriarty, a Go-Go, Shane, myself, Keith Lee, uh Loki, a lot of us who are like martial artists, Shinsuke, a lot of these guys who, yeah, like everybody is with the smoke, now. It used to not be so popular, right? But now it's one of those things where there are a few of us who have been ahead of the curve. And so now you've got the guys like a Speedball who's always been a martial artist, and he found he found his way through pro wrestling, and has been able to add to his tools as well. And so I think that crossover is not as necessary as it used to be, at least for me personally. Uh,
Gotcha.
but
I,
I mean, we're in there throwing live rounds, man. So
yeah.
we here for it.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's one of those things now that it's definitely you see it now. You definitely see it
Yeah,
where it's something where You notice the background
You saw,
here.
yeah, you
It's
saw
very
Revolver
prevalent.
fight. You saw Revolver fight. Like it was
Yeah,
like, we right there. It's
yeah.
throw or
And
be
it's one of
thrown.
those things
You know,
where,
yeah,
like, for me, I love the style just because, again, you see the background here. There's definitely a
yeah.
certain influence of a certain company with honor when it comes to
Hey,
this
you
logo and
feel me?
everything
Hey,
here.
I
That it's
mean,
like,
listen, and that's the thing. Like, Ring of Honor has been such a great gift for me as well. Of
you know,
just the opportunity to be around some of the best grapplers, and like, is it a new iteration of it? Sure, but you've still got Briscoes. You've still got, Danielson, who's still involved. You've still got, the Claudios. How, like a lot of these guys who, again, Taylor, one of the originals, Nana, uh, the Toa,
the-
uh, Khan, you know what I mean? So many people who come through there. And so Ring of Honor is still alive and well. And so that's the thing of the craft. If you talk about respecting the craft, right? Like it's hard to say Ring of Honor isn't a big part of that as well.
no, definitely. There's a
Yeah,
reason why you see that
yeah,
you see
yeah.
the theme here when we decided to
Yeah,
revamp this
you
a little
setting the
more.
mood, you setting the
It's like
mood.
it's like when I was revamping this, I was like, I had to because
Yeah,
Ring of Honor definitely played such a role, especially in my earlier years of watching wrestling, and then now
absolutely.
uh, getting to work with so many and be under the tutelage of so many that were
Yeah,
very pivotal in that earlier
absolutely.
stages of Ring of Honor. That it's like you see the influence now, and you see what it is that's Ring of Honor had a lot of those guys that early showed that MMA style when it comes to wrestling, and now getting to see
Absolutely.
it be more open and see it more like yourself,
Yeah,
like the name you mentioned, that it's
yeah,
something of seeing that is it's such a great step in the right direction of the craft here.
absolutely. And that's the beauty of a lot of the, like you said, the craft and the athletes of that caliber, like even like the Ring of Honor women's champion, like Athena, she can be a bit of a diva, if you will. But but are we not gonna say she's not a first ballot Hall of Famer as a
Oh,
grappler, as a striker? As you know what I mean? Like she might not be known for it, but like go ahead, try it. You know what I'm saying? Try she's the world champion she's the longest reigning champion for a reason, you know.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
And this is and
This
she's
this ain't
about to
gonna end the
go
way you
into
think it is. Go ahead, try it. Okay.
yeah, it's like this is the thing of she's about to be the longest reigning, I believe, in both divisions when it
Yeah,
comes to any reign as a
absolutely.
champion of Ring of Honor history. So
Well deserved.
again, the record
Well
book shows
deserved, of
it.
course. Yeah. And so, but yeah, like you were saying, a lot of your formative years as a wrestling fan, Ring of Honor was a big part of it. I think the truth is a lot of people, that's the truth. You're just one of the few people that will admit it because I mean, I have friends who tell me like they used to do like the tape trading. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like they would trade like tapes and DVDs and things of that nature. And it's like that's where the Steens and Tyler Black and Danielson and like that, you know, freaking McGinnis,
Yep.
like just the goats, Punk, Joe, like goats, man, just straight goats, like from top to bottom, Loki, uh, bro, we could like again, we could do that all day. You know what I mean? Like we could do
That
that
could be
literally all
a
day.
whole nother conversation.
Yeah,
But
you could do that all day,
yeah,
and so yeah, like I think just so many different flavors of ice cream is what they say when we talk shop. There's so many
yeah.
different flavors of ice cream, but like I think like right now, you better be able to be effective with good old fashioned vanilla. Can you put your opponent on the canvas for a 1, 2, 3 or a submission? I think if you can't do the vanilla part of it, you won't survive long
There you go. So now I do have to ask you, especially when it comes to that, there's one match that I can imagine is definitely high on the list of matches you've been a part of, and that was this right here, getting to be at Ring of Honor for Final Battle.
Oh, that was my debut. Yeah, my
And just
debut. Yeah, that there
what a
was
debut.
more. Yeah, right. There was more history in that match than I was aware of going into it, and I
Yeah.
think the story of that match is still unfolding to this day between Swerve, Shane, Keith, and myself. We've all taken different paths and different things of that nature, but yeah, at some point you see it all culminating back together. That was one of my least favorite matches, just because at the time, um, I mean, I guess you could say still to this day, Keith and Shane have always, man, these guys, that they're so competitive sometimes, and it gets nasty, and you always feel like the youngest brother trying to like, and it finally got to a point to where it's like, all right, are we gonna just put this all to bed? And then at that time, Swerve and Keith had friction, and I had just joined STP, and that was like caused one of the bigger rifts at first. Just me first coming into Ring of Honor, debuting on a pay per view at Final Battle, which is basically the WrestleMania
Yeah.
for Ring of Honor, right? And debuting um, against three guys that I consider friends, three guys that I respect, but we're all going in there throwing live rounds in the worst situation, right? And to know that it elevated all of us, and it was a very like, it wasn't a good situation, right?
Yeah.
It's when you are a super athlete among super athletes, and then especially in the Ring of Honor environment, like everybody in that locker room believes they're the best wrestler on the planet. Rightfully so, because everybody in that locker room has some stake to that claim. And going into that match, yeah, it it was overwhelming in the sense of the scope of it, but it was very I was very familiar with everybody. Like Keith and I been close friends for half our lives. Shane, became a friend shortly after that, and Swerve kind of being one of the guys that pulled me aside and kind of tried to smart me up and take me under his wing as well a little bit as well. And just us being thrown into a terrible situation and just seeing how it transpired with between Keith and Swerve, between Shane and Keith, and then even Keith and I've we've kind of clashed on so many things, but I think we're all brothers, and that's just kind of our nature. We're just like, it's cool, like we're gonna fight, but like don't touch my brothers. Like I'll fight my brothers, but if you cross them, you gonna have to see me. And so
Yeah. That respect
and
factor and that love is still gonna be there. We're
and
gonna have
it,
those conflicts,
I,
but
I
yeah,
think that's what it is, though. Yeah, I think that's just the nature of competition. When you go out, when you consider yourself a competitor,
yeah.
you got to compete. If you call yourself a competitor, you got to compete. So I think us going in and wanting to put on the best performance at a final battle, and TK and Tony hyped us up, man. Tony, I feel like Tony was in both locker. Hey, Tony be instigate, man. Tony was it like if he was in that locker room, like hey, swerving our glory, like they look ready over there, and Shane and I taping up like, hey, nah, fuck that, we ready, you know what I'm saying? So I assumed that he was over there, like STP, they go try to handle y'all, you know.
Just
So
rallying up
yeah,
like have a good
so yeah,
have a great match, guys. See,
that's something I love about him though. He's his enthusiasm. He'll turn a regular match into a full on brawl, right? He'd be like, hey, this is for the title, guys. Y'all might want to go. You you know. Uh, and so, but I think he's gotten the best out of a lot of us. And put a lot of us in good positions to succeed. He's put a lot of people in good positions to succeed, and obviously grateful for that.
oh, definitely, I can imagine there. I have to talk about just ask about that when it comes to even now being under Shane Taylor with STP.
Mhm.
Just how is that like learning under him, man, and just how has that shaped the performer we're now seeing when it comes to Shady
Um,
JD Griffey, man?
um, I think Shane's biggest contribution to uh my career, I'll just speak professionally,
Of
is
course.
more more so in the sense of I'm trying to find a way. It's been more liberating. Like he doesn't try to edit who you are. He's like, I need to. He wants to know who you are at your best and your worst. Like Shane's the type of person like he wants your best and he wants your worst. You know, he's like, yeah, he's like, yeah, Shady. He can be a bit of a jokester. He can be a bit of a cool breeze, but underneath that, he's got a bit of a murderous intent, and I can use that. And so he doesn't try to be like, hey, you gotta, because it's weird. It would be hypocritical for Shane to be like, hey, we got to be this, we got to be that, and then I go in there and watch him try to like knock, Briscoe's pop his chin into the third row. It's like, bro, and you and the Briscoes, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you going at Mark like that? You gonna go at Mark like that? Like, because I know like Chicks is man, like Chicks is his man. But if you seen them fight, you would think like he don't know him. You think he owe him some bread or something. Yeah, you think he owns some bread or something. Oh, title drop down. But yeah, man, like I think with Shane, professionally it's been very liberating. On a personal level, he's always been the same guy. He's, big bro. He try to pull you to the side, and if he thinks you're making a mistake or if he thinks you're going in a direction that's, I won't say right or wrong, but not conducive to the results that you told him you wanted for your life and career, he'll pull you aside and tell you. And it's been evident in the go-go. I'll speak for I can speak for Khan and and Moses and O'Shea as well. They would say the same. Rev will say that. And now, like, obviously Moriarty and a go-go, it's just be yourself. That's been the biggest thing, is being okay being myself, and let them call you what they call you. And so
Gotcha.
if I'm shady, I'm shady. So it is what it is.
Gotcha. No, definitely understood there. So now I got to go into this one. That's a little bit of always the hard hitting question here, because we look back at the career you've had so far. What would
Yeah.
be a match or matches that you say define that career so far?
I would say, man, I would say obviously debuting at Ring of Honor was kind of crazy, like debuting on a pay-per-view and kind of being thrusted into that role like out the gate. That
Okay.
was a career defining moment because it was against people who everybody in that match knew each other very well, like as far as for what they do in different scenarios, their offense, how they defend themselves. And so that was more of a chess match than a wrestling match. And I'm not in those environments too often. I usually can kind of visualize and plot out a course of how I see a match going in my favor. And I wasn't able to do that in that match. So if you ask me, the defining matches are matches like that have that effect on me, where I go, oh, I did not see this going this way, and now I'm having to adapt as this match takes a life of its own. You could say that about a few days ago with Homicide, where things just kind of go awry and you don't expect it, and then you just survive. And a lot of times I don't like having matches like that. I will, in all honesty, where things are like, man, what the, I don't know. I will say, man, there's so many. Like, there's so many. Uh, my debut at Beyond Wrestling up north against Keith, right before he signed with the company up the road with the Fed. I was his last match before he left the Indies at that time, and that was another match where I got to be introduced to the nation, I guess you would say. That was another career defining match. That's the weird thing about Keith and I, is like a lot of my career defining moments and vice versa. We're both a part of it, and a lot of my bouts with like Matthew Palmer, um, we just kind of had to become friends, because it's like, look, man, if we don't become friends, one of us is gonna die in this ring, man. We gotta and he now being a owner of his own company as well. We fought for that championship in his company. Well, it was before he owned it, but we fought for the championship in that company, and many times had a bunch of bouts and battles. But a lot of my stuff is just been matches that turn into something else. Like most recently was for me that like shook me and shaped me was my match with John Morrison. Morrison is somebody who Morrison is actually the individual who made me feel like I could pursue this seriously. I was watching the first season of Tough Enough and saw just this regular guy, just this guy named John, and then and he was an athlete. He was just a quiet guy, and then you see him, go into the Fed and ECW, and now he's been in Impact. He's been everywhere. He's been a champion, a world champion at the highest level in every organization he's been a part of, and to go full circle and then be facing him. And after the bout's over, I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, but after that bout's over, him just being like, that match with you just now just lit a fire that I didn't expect. Like I think for him, being at the highest level for so long and being I think he's so talented and gifted that he almost gets bored because it doesn't appear to be challenging him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think Ricochet is another one of those guys where you're like, bro, are you trying? Like you just see them do stuff. It's like, are you gonna try? Like you can just do that regularly. Like you can just flip over the ropes. All right, whatever, dude. But yeah, I think I had never prepared for a match the way I prepared for him outside of debuting for that pay-per-view with Swerve
Gotcha.
and Keith. But after that bout was over, him just being like, yeah, man, you're one of one, and again, being in an industry where we're all fighters, right? We all compete and go into combat, but him telling me like, no, you are that complete package. And it I think it like it lit a fire in me. Him telling me that I lit a fire under him lit a fire under me, and then we again had another bout, and he and I have been pretty close since then. And to think that a friendship started from throwing fists, so
That's usually how it
I
starts
would
in the
say,
business. A lot of times, it's like,
yeah.
"Yep,
So I
we're
would
just
say
gonna."
matches with Shane, Matthew, Swerve, Keith, and Morrison.
Gotcha. That's quite a list right there. And again, it's something
Right?
that shows
Yeah.
why it shaped the performer you are, where you
Yeah.
continue to be, and it's scary
Yeah.
to think what more matches to come, that
Yeah.
can make, and what that can become as a competitor in there, man. So
And oddly to add to that, like Homicide, this last match just had that effect on me as well, is where I'm like, I gotta be able to defend myself in these matches that kind of go off the rails, you know. So I might be barking up Callahan's tree pretty soon, Yeah, I know. I understand that fate. You're not the first person I said that to. I said it to Keith the other day. I was like, I think I want to fight Callahan, and Keith's like, yeah, but Callahan ain't gonna wrestle you, bro.
yeah. Well, I will say this. I will say this. You fought Theo Homicide. We're having this conversation. That's always. It was
Yeah,
one of those
I didn't
things when
die, right? I
I
not only did I survive, I won. Okay,
so because that
I
was the
won.
thing when
I
I
didn't die.
messaged you and I was like, "Hey, I would love to have you on the podcast," and I'm like, "Hopefully, we can do it before you face
Yeah, I
Theo."
didn't. Yeah, I didn't like your tone. That you brought it up. I didn't say it. I don't think I liked your tone. You sounded like you didn't expect me to survive. you know.
I even promoted it like
Yeah,
after the
you did. I
fallout.
saw it. I saw it. Yeah, I saw. I was like, oh, okay. It's like, no, you're a good wrestler. I hope you live long enough to become a great one. I'm like, all right, Sanchez. All right, now, like, I
Hey,
don't know how
man,
to take this, bro.
I was just like, Oh man, come! I was like, I was this close to be like, Theo, don't kill him, man. I want to have the conversation on two. Ah, he's gonna kill him. Because then I was like,
You
oh wait,
know,
no, the title's on the line. Yeah, Theo's gonna try to kill him.
yeah, and it's just like for me, just being in an environment with these kind of performers on a consistent basis, I think it's sobering because you're like, oh, I can really, it can really happen for me out here. I can really, I I done had my life flash before my eyes way too many times with these people. But I mean, if you ask anybody that's been in the ring with Homicide, you know, they'll tell you like that. Yeah, it just kind of comes with it. But yeah, I think for the most part, just having just the culture of wrestling right now, as a performer, as a fan, as well as anybody who just loves the industry, it's a beautiful time to be a part of it right now, for sure.
Oh, definitely agreed there. But now I have to ask you. You mentioned Callahan. Is there anyone else that is on that? You know what? I need to get in there with. I need to have that fight with in the squared circle.
Uh, I'm trying to like, are we just talking? I'm gonna be honest, like I want another crack at Swerve.
Okay.
Uh, I don't know. I feel like Callahan is my white whale right now because he is the antithesis of everything that I represent as a performer, as a fighter. And the thing is like, I don't know, man. He'll fight anybody, right? Like, and I like to say that about myself too, right? Like, I'll fight anybody. Um, but I think there's something where I'm like, I think I can show people a side of. I try to be that when I face anyone, though. It's like I want fighting me to awaken something in you that you weren't privy to prior to that bout. But there are those few people like a Callahan who I'm like, I don't know, he might wake up something in me that I ain't aware of either. So, but yeah, right now I would say like a Callahan. I want another crack at Swerve. Uh, we're still waiting on Keith to heal. Um, I always enjoy facing those people. But my match that I really, really want, and I don't know if I'll get just because of the circumstance. Uh, One of my OGs, Jerry Lynn. He's a great like mentor figure, and he's always available for advice. But there's so many times I watch like his wrestling, and I'm just like, "Mm." And it's Jerry, and it's like Jerry. I know you can still do it. You can. You don't. The smile ain't fooling me. You like get the like no,
Uh,
no. But yeah, a lot of my matches are like dream matches, like of people that you admire, like a Jericho, right? Like the Jerry Lynn's, the Christopher Daniels, these people, But for right now, to say right now, I will say probably Mox and like Callahan.
Again, I'm gonna go oof. Which a Jerry Lynn match
But no,
though.
Brian, bro, I'm just saying Jerry Lynn, because like Jerry Lynn had just an amalgamation of just crazy matches, like
Yeah.
just top tier performer, like through and through, top to bottom. Um, but just the more active people, I would say, um, another run at Speedball, another run at Swerve, and Callahan.
No, that's a list right there. That is a insane list right there.
Yeah,
Um,
I know, right? You would think somebody who's like a showman and a pretty boy MMA fighter, you want to face people who, but that was the same thing with Homicide
yeah,
when the paperwork came through, I signed it immediately. Fuck yeah. And
gotcha. No, that means
it's like, but you get that reaction, like, that's Homicide, right? That's these. It's like, yeah. That's there's danger. Like, yeah, I'm the danger too. Like, I'm the danger. Like. it is what it is. But I think you get to see another side of me when I'm facing these kinds of people and stuff like that. And we'll see who I got this weekend at the Epic.
There you go.
On
Well,
Triller
again,
TV. You know?
now that you keep throwing that Callahan name, you might be careful because you might think you have one opponent. Sammy might just be like, "Huh, keep saying my name." We
I
might have to
mean,
wait. We might have the card subject to change this. So because they haven't announced it yet.
it's in the fine print in
Rumor.
the bottom corner, right? Always, right?
Always
Cars
there.
subject
It's
to
always
change.
there. It's always
But
there. But
yeah, no,
again,
I'm excited.
definitely. But before I let you go, Matt, I got to ask you the final question I ask everyone that comes
Yeah.
on, and that is for JD Griffey. What is the end goal, brother?
Um, man, I think I hope your audience understands what I mean when I say this, but I feel like you'll understand it. I think anybody who competes on any level in any industry will know what I mean. I It's hard to put a number like I want to make this amount of money or I want to have this achievement I want to get what I came for, and I'll know it when I have it. It's like, well, you want to be on TV, you want to do this, you want to. It's like, yeah, but I'm still doing it. Like, okay, I've done all that. I'm still doing it. Right. So, but I think I want to get what I came for. Is it like, oh, do you want to be known as one of the best? Well, I already think I'm that. So now that can't be it either, right? It's I'm almost like Keith has called me like the Ken Masters of pro wrestling, like the character from Street Fighter, right? It's hey man, you got you know, you come from a good family, you've all had all these resources. Why this? And it's just like I'm looking for something that money can't buy. And like, yes, this industry makes us a lot of money. This industry comes with a lot of fame. This industry comes with a lot of accolades and things of that nature. And but what I'm after, money can't buy it.
Got you.
And
Definitely.
so it's very difficult to answer that question. But I feel like the answer I gave you, you get what I mean. Like
I
if I was
definitely
like, oh, so
understand.
what do you
I definitely.
what do you want from this? And you will go like, I want what I came for. Well, what's that?
Yeah.
I can't. I know what it is, but I can't articulate it verbally.
Yeah.
Like I know
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to say, but I
Oh,
can't articulate it in a way that everyone would understand.
got you. No, I love it. I definitely understand it loud and clear. And I feel like you said, those that, pun intended here, respect their craft and are part of this
Yeah,
craft here would
of
definitely
course.
understand and appreciate an answer like that, man. So, but before we let you go, I want to remind everyone, if they haven't already, make sure you are following JD Griffey on all of his social media right there. Follow him on the Instagram right there, Shady_JD_Griffey. Make sure you follow him on X right there at that JD Griffey. And again, you have an opportunity to see him this week if you're in the Texas area for the Wrestling Revolver's return to the Epic with Epic over Texas. Tickets are still available right now with a flash sale as well for only 10. You get those $10 off. That brings those tickets
Yeah.
really down. It's a steal, man, for that stack show.
And that's
You don't
and
want
that's the
that.
thing. Like Revolver has this flash sale where it's for multiple events as well,
Yep.
and so like I don't think they've ever done that. So this is
Nope.
like one of the biggest sales they've had, and so I'm over here like, man, you better get on it. I mean, I'm fighting, but I might buy some tickets just in case.
Hey, it's gonna be for 3 stacked events. You
I mean,
get that
if I let you
off.
tell it, I might not survive all of these events. Like if I let you tell it.
Well, again,
Like
I was just saying because it
you
was
know,
homicide.
no, it's
That's
too
all I'm
late.
saying.
Too late. You out here talking.
He's not gonna let that go, is he? He's not gonna let that.
No,
Before,
absolutely not.
yeah.
Every time you see me, you're gonna have to see me. All right. Like we're gonna talk
Oh
about it.
man. Shout out to my
We're gonna
boy
talk
Toe in
about
the chat. Yo. Again, I'm just saying, when I saw the flyer and I'm like, oh man, I just hit him up about this podcast.
it. Yeah, it sounded like you was reaching out to we trying to book an interview and you reaching out with condolences. I don't like it. I don't like it, Sanchez. I don't fucking like it. Get it together. Get you and here I am. And still
There you go.
Still breathing, and I'm still breathing. So there. Making me
Hey,
sick.
we had a great conversation here. You're alive and well. You're going to Revolver this weekend.
Absolutely.
But
Yes.
definitely, thank you again so much for joining me, man. To everyone
Brother, I
watching,
appreciate you.
thank you guys for tuning in. As always, don't forget to be wise, be genuine, be real, be better people. Respect the craft, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, everybody. And we